Hey guys, welcome back to Untold Stories, the show where we talk about the comic media and stories that didn't make the cut. I'm Olivia, and today I want to talk about the unreleased 1994 Fantastic Four movie. This was a movie that almost made it to the finish, but it wasn't meant to be. Let's get to the beginning. The 90s were a rough period for Marvel. They were approaching bankruptcy, and like a poor parent in a fairy tale, Marvel began sending their kids away. Marvel soon sold off the movie rights to a lot of different companies, often under the condition that to retain the rights, a movie had to be made within a certain period of time or the rights would return to Marvel. In 1986, producer Bernd Eichner reached a deal with Marvel for the film rights for the Fantastic Four to the tune of $250,000, although it's not clear if this was the official sum. He had the right to make a movie under his production studio Constantine, but he had to do it within 5 years or lose the rights. Flash forward to 1992, and no movie. In an effort to keep the film rights, Eichner approached Roger Corman to help him make the movie. Corman is a director often called the king of B-movies, and his record speaks for itself with movies like The Little Shop of Horrors, The Mask of Red Death, and numerous cult classics. Corman agreed, and they set out to make the Fantastic Four movie on a budget of $1 million. For context, the average movie budget in the early 90s was around $30 million, and today an average film budget is around $65 million, so to make a movie on such a small budget was no small feat. The movie was directed by Ole Sassoon, written by Craig J. Nevis and Kevin Rock, produced by Stephen Rabiner, and with Alex Hyde White as Reed Richards, Jay Underwood as Johnny Storm, Rebecca Stabb as Stu Storm, and Carl Ciarfalio as The Thing, and Michael Bailey Smith as Ben Grimm. Joseph Culp as Dr. Doom, Kat Green as Alicia Masters, as well as appearances from Ian Trigger and George Gaines. The movie was focused on the Fantastic Four's origins and their first encounter with Dr. Doom. It also had a subplot featuring an original villain known as the Jeweler, as he is trying to steal a diamond that Doom also needs so that he can kidnap and marry Alicia Masters, the Thing's love interest. The film very famously went to painstaking lengths to be faithful to the comics for the costumes and the look of the project, and apparently was highly anticipated by the general public. The movie was shot in 3 locations in under 25 days and then was off to post-production. Reportedly, the cast and crew were very excited. Supposedly, some of them even helped pay out of pocket to promote the movie, and the composers contributed $6,000 personally in post-production to get the score done by a full orchestra. However, something was wrong. The movie was set to be released in the January of 1994. When the premiere was canceled, the cast received cease and desist letters banning them from discussing or promoting the movie, and the producers confiscated the negatives for the film. The Fantastic Four movie was never to be shown. As to what happened, there was a lot of finger-pointing that happened afterward. Stan Lee claimed in a 2005 interview that the movie was never meant to be seen by anyone, and that the cast and crew were deliberately left in the dark. Corman said Eichner bought out his contract so he would leave before the project was released. Eichner claims he fully intended the film to be released, but then he got a call from Avi Arad. Avi Arad is a producer, probably most known for all of the Marvel movies he produced in the 2000s. Currently, he is the producer behind the upcoming Legend of Zelda movie, but in the 1990s, he was an executive with Toy Biz. Toy Biz and Arad would end up pulling Marvel out of bankruptcy in 1996, obtaining the rights to Spider-Man and a few other properties. Arad was supposedly very protective over Marvel's IPs, and as the rumor goes, feared that a low-budget movie like Fantastic Four would make Marvel look bad and cheapen the brand, something Marvel could not afford at the time, so he supposedly pressured Eichner to cancel the film's release. However, this information should be taken with a large grain of salt. I cannot find any definitive information that makes this timeline make sense between Toy Biz and Avi Arad having the power to control the release of the 1994 Fantastic Four movie, so if anyone here has any information, I would love to hear it. Now, would this surprise me that Arad was protective enough of the IP to get a movie pulled? No, but I have no idea if this is a fair assessment either. Now, is this movie that bad? I wouldn't say that. The movie was okay. To me, the low budget gives it an out-of-time charm, making it feel more like a 60s sci-fi movie that is surprisingly faithful to adapting Marvel's first family, but I can see where audiences at the time might have balked. I do think it would have at least had a cult following, and that leaves it in a similar place to its place in the world right now. I don't think this movie's release, or lack of release, really had a huge impact on the world of comic media, but the story here is what grabbed my attention. The idea of a whole film being made to keep the rights and then not telling the cast and crew what was going on breaks my heart as a creative, although this seems to be a much more common practice than I thought, such as recently with the cancelled Batgirl movie. If you would like to learn more about the production of this film, there was a documentary made about it called Doomed, and if you would like to see the movie yourself, after its production it was released in Germany, and several bootleg recordings of the original have been posted online, so this is an untold story you can actually see for yourself, at least for now. On that note, thanks for listening, you guys. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye! If something seems different today, instead of using the music of MF Doom, today I use the infamous Flame On song from the Fantastic Four cartoon from the 90s. So, yeah. Flame on.